cracking fish to start the session off. Lovely Barston Common. PVA bag fishing, here's my top tips to catch some of these absolute crackers. Great start, lovely common that. I'm going to get my next cast ready. I'm going to show you a few little tips. Oh, I'm going to get her out there first, so I really want to get another fish on the bank. I've already got another bag and bomb all ready to rock and roll. That's another tip, but I'll run you through that in a little bit. Really want to get another one of them bites, absolutely love it. But PVA bag fishing is very simple way of fishing, but it goes under the radar quite a bit, and I know a lot of top match anglers use this tactic a lot, and it's so effective, especially on venues that get a lot of carp anglers on it, and they see a lot of, you know, sort of carpy style baits, liquids. PVA bag style fishing can be a really devastating tactic to have in your armoury. But now I'm looking forward to that tip wanging round again. What is the PVA bag? Well, it's basically a little bag made out of PVA, clues in the name, but that PVA dissolves when it's in water, and especially in the summer months, it dissolves very quickly. And what that means is you're left with a really attractive pile of pellets or any bait that you put in the PVA bag right next to your hook bait. And I'm going to show you in a little bit of detail. I'm going to wait for a bite first, but I'm going to show you in a little bit of detail about exactly how to put it on the hook, what to do with it, how to tie the bag. But the idea of a PVA bag is loads of little high attractive pellets in and around your hook bait, and it just creates a little bit of a different presentation to, say, a hybrid or a method feeder, which a lot of fish, especially places like Barston that get heavily fished for, they're a little bit spooky of hybrids, method feeders sometimes. Oh, that's definitely a good fish. And as you can see from that, it can be a devastating way of almost, it's a bit of a crossover between the carp world and the match world. And these little bags, once you get in your head that you're not feeding loads and loads of bait, you're almost trying to catch fish in and around little areas all the time. You're dobbing fish, and having that little attractive pile of bait right next to your hook bait, it's just a mega way of fishing for these big carp that sometimes, like I said, can be a bit wary of method feeders. And at certain times of year, especially in this time when the fish are active, they're hungry, and they want hard pellets, which is what I'm feeding today, there's no better way of fishing for these carp than with a PVA bag. I mean, the carp boys absolutely rip this place up big time, and they all use PVA bags, so that's what you're mimicking in this way of fishing. And I know, as I said from the start of the film, a lot of top match anglers are absolutely annihilating Barston at the minute. Brandon George, little Brenda, won a recent festival. I know he used PVA bag a lot in this festival to win that 3-dayer. And it's just a great way of fishing for these big fish that have seen it all before. They're not daft, but it's a brilliant way of almost mugging carp because you're dobbing in and around different areas. So I'm not trying to build up a swim when you're doing this style of fishing. I'm not clipping up or anything like that. I'm just basically casting in and around where I think fish are going to be. So you're searching your peg massively. Look at that cracker of a carp. Whoa, that's a beast. Bigger than the first one, to be fair. That's a lovely common. Go on. Oh, he's double figures easy, him. Yeah, he's massive. Woohoo! Oh, cracker of a fish. But that is exactly why the PVA bag is so effective at places where there's big carp. As I said, loads of carp anglers absolutely catch tons of fish using PVA bags. I'm going to try and hold her up, not too high because I don't want to drop her. But that is an absolute unit of a carp. Look at that. Lovely jubbly. So, let's get into the nitty gritty of what PVA bag fishing is all about and a few little tips from me to try and catch a few more fish on it. First tip, make sure you've got quite a few PVA bags already tied up. I do these at home and I like to have a nice selection of sizes. So I've got some bigger ones. That's great if the fish are really hungry and they're really active, they want a bigger amount of particles around your hook bait. But I've also got some smaller ones. If the fishing's a little bit tricky and you only want a little pile of bait around your hook bait, little small PVA bags are the one. But the biggest tip I can give you, tie these up at home when it's dry. It'll save you loads of time on the bank. And make sure you've got a little airtight tub with you, because if it does start getting a bit rainy, a bit wet, PVA bags can be a nightmare to use. So make sure they stay dry. It's really important. And what is actually in these PVA bags and what is the PVA bag that I use? So the PVA bag's little speed mesh system, super easy to use, but I'll give you a little bit of a how-to guide in a little while, but I want to get back out there. You can probably tell I'm itching to catch some more of them big carp. So in terms of the setup and what I'm using, got my bomb here. It's got a little snap link at the bottom of an elasticated stem. It's a little prototype that we're working on. So I've got a long black X-Safe elastic stem. I'll always use elastic when possible when I'm fishing for carp. So good. You get a better hook hold in my opinion because it's a bolt effect and you've got that cushion of that black elastic. It means you just pull out a less fish, I think. And when underneath the rod tip, you've got less pressure on the fish and just an all-round better way of landing more fish. So got a little snap link at the bottom, and all I'm going to do, I've already got a little, get that wasp away. I'm actually having to hide this little dip, which is a bit of a selection of 3 different sticky syrups, but I'm having to hide it under a towel because I'm getting attacked by wasps. And all I'm going to do, got a 4-inch hook length. You might think, oh, usually I'm going to fish a longer hook length, but today I've found a shorter 4-inch to be miles better. And got a little 10QM one on there, wafter at the bottom, mounted with a bayonet. I've got 0.19 N-gauge hook length. It's actually a ready rig, comes on a big ready spool, and I've just shortened that rig down to 4 inches. They come 15 inches. I couldn't remember where they come in, but they come 15 inches, so I've cut it down to 4 inches. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown about why I'm using a syrup or a glug or a liquid. Venues like Barston, they see a lot of carp anglers, as I've mentioned, and they use a lot of liquids. That smell and the attraction of that sticky syrup and that liquid is a must. And a lot of top anglers have been really catching well at Barston using syrups and sticky glugs, whatever you call it. And that is why I'm using it. So all I've got, little wafter at the bottom, mounted with a bayonet, 10QM1, 0.19 N-gauge hook length, 4 inches long, little small bag. To be honest, I could try a bit of a bigger bag, but I've had 2 or 3 bites now on this smaller bag and it doesn't seem to be, you know, it's not working. It's not working, so I'm going to carry on using it. And all I'm doing, got an 1.5 ounce bomb there. I just thought I'd mention that. Nice big bomb. It's important that you use a nice big bomb because it counteracts the weight of that little bag, and it just means that you get less tangles. You've got a better hookup as well because it's a nice heavy bomb. So 1.5 ounces inline bomb on that speed stem. Absolutely brilliant. And all I'm going to do, before I chuck out, I'm going to push that little snap link in there like that, create even more of a bolt effect. And that's a great little PVA bag setup. Definitely works, and it's a deadly way of fishing for these carp. As I said when I was playing that last fish, I'm not looking to build a peg, so I've not got a clip on. I caught that fish around about 30 meters just then, so I'm going to chuck about around about there, and I'm looking for quick bites. So I'm going to set my stopwatch and I'm looking for 3-minute casts. That's all I'm going to do. So I've got a 3-minute chuck, and what I'm going to do now is, got my little stopwatch, keep my eye on my rod, got me 2 little rests there, so I'm in perfect, you know, working order. I can do anything I want. So got my 2 little rests there. I can do anything I want with my hands now, which is going to be prepping my next PVA bag. So I've got my bag on the needle, pop it on, my hook length, push it down. Just make sure your hook is nice and buried into that bag and into that little pile of pellets. And you might be wondering what's actually in these PVA bags. I haven't mentioned it yet. I've got a nice mixture of different size pellets. I've got 3mm, 4mm and 6mm halibut pellets. The reason why I've used halibut pellets is they're very high oil, attractive pellets. And when it is warm, summertime, that halibut pellet is just going to stand out a little bit more than just an ordinary, say, coppin or a skretting pellet. So that's why I like halibut pellets. And the reason why I've gone for 3 different sizes is because it doesn't get the fish preoccupied on one size. Like, say, for example, if I was just putting 6mm pellets in, it's quite a big bait that, and it can fill up fish quite quickly. So having a mixture of different sizes is really, really good. You'll be able to see here, got a nice mixture of sizes there. I've literally got a pint of each of the baits. So I've got a pint of 3mm, pint of 4mm and a pint of 6mm. Just creates a nice little mixture and just gives the fish a little bit more versatility when that is on the bottom, and it doesn't fill them up too much. And you might be thinking, what syrups are my little bags there? You can see them. I'm gonna get attacked by a wasp if I leave them out too much. Oh, brilliant, towels falling in. I've got that little syrupy pot there with my hook baits in and my PVA bags. I think the wasps are going to attack me in a second. But it's really high attractive syrups. And it's 1 part tuna, 1 part hybrid and 1 part essential cell. So I've got them here. I've literally used like probably 1/3 of a bottle of each. And the reason why is because, I'll be 100% honest, I didn't know what was going to be right today. So I thought a mixture of all 3 might be great. I use these a lot in my fishing, especially the hybrid at summertime. That is a brilliant fish catching syrup. Brilliant, that is. I like it a lot. But I know for a fact a lot of anglers use essential cell, boilies and the smart liquids, stuff like that. They use a lot of essential cell in their fishing here at Barston. So that's why I've gone for a mixture of all 3. But you don't have to use all 3, just use one that you're confident in. All these 3 have been working a treat here today, but if I had to use one in the summertime for carp, it's that hybrid sticky syrup. It's absolutely brilliant, really meaty smell, and the carp absolutely love it. It's great around a method or a hybrid too, but been working a treat here at Barston for PVA bag fishing. Probably time for another chuck now. It's been around about 3 minutes, so I'm going to chuck back in. I'm not looking to build that peg. I'm dobbing around my swim, and it's really good because you're getting quick casts, which means that you're not waiting loads of time. And I think that's important because there's going to be little pockets of carp everywhere in my peg, and I'm literally just a case of dropping on a little pocket of them, and I've got that little smelly, high attractive pellets, really visual, brilliant hook bait, which I know is working here today. And it's just a matter of now picking my different spots. It's literally just a case of wherever you think, but keep your eyes out for fish as well. If you see an odd fish topping, it's probably a great area to target because it's a really good giveaway that that's where some fish are. Because if you see a carp top, fish towards it. But one thing I will say is don't be too lazy with it as well. Don't just sit there for like 10-15 minute chucks. It's summertime, the carp are active, you need to be really on it. And what I mean by that is you need to be casting different spots. Setting your stopwatch, I forgot to do that just then. Setting your stopwatch, 3 minutes. Literally, these PVA bags at this time of year when the water's warm, takes about 30 seconds for them to fully break up. And it's important that you're really, really active with it because you don't want to be leaving it out too long because you're just going to waste loads of time. So when that gets to 3 minutes, I've made literally a visual marker around about 35 metres. To my left, I've got a far bank marker where I've just cast that PVA bag and bomb to. I know that if I don't get a bite there, I'll probably try to my right next chuck or right in the middle again. I'll just bounce around everywhere. I can go a bit further, I can come closer. And it's just a great way of searching your peg and really, really targeting them bigger carp. Because I've got all them hard pellets in that little PVA bag and a really attractive wafter hook bait, if there are big carp in and around my area, this is the best way of catching them. Well, that just goes to prove how fishing in the right spot can be so effective. 1 minute 25 seconds, it's hooped round on that new spot, a little bit to the left of where we were fishing before. It's just a mega way of searching your peg, and you get such quick bites. It's incredible. 1 minute 25 seconds. It amazes me how quick they're on it, and they're definitely addicted to that syrup. They love it. Combine that with that PVA bag, them high attraction pellets, you've got an absolutely devastating way of catching carp. This feels a good fish again. Nice big mirror, that one. But once you get in a rhythm of this style of fishing, I can see why it's unbeatable, especially in matches, because you're targeting some really big fish, and you're almost selecting the biggest fish in your peg. Look at that one, massive carp. Lovely mirror, that one. And it did not take long at all. Whew. What an absolute cracker of a fish. Let's pop her back. One of the most important parts of PVA bag fishing is fishing with the right bag. And what I mean by that is the right size and the right consistency, because you don't want a loose bag. That's the last thing you want. You want a nice tight bag, and I'm going to show you exactly how to get that right now. So, I've got my little PVA speed mesh system here. Comes with 3 parts. So you've got your mesh, which is your PVA mesh, that dissolves in water, that carries your bait down to the bottom. You've got a little plunger, you've got your main little tube here, which you fill up your pellets with. So, got my mixture of pellets, which I've already told you about. 1 part 3mm, 4mm and 6mm, pint of each basically. Halibut pellets. Where allowed, I'll always use halibut pellets. They're really high oil. Carp absolutely love them in the summer months. Now what I like to do, as you've seen, I've got my little lunch box here. I like to do these at home. I've got a nice mixture of sizes. So as I'm just going to repeat it again, I've got a few bigger ones and a few smaller ones. The smaller ones have been definitely better today. It's almost like a mouthful for a big carp, because I'm looking to fish quite quickly, 3-minute cast. I don't want a massive pile of pellets right next to my hook bait. So I'm going to show you how to make these little bags. So I've got my little pole pot here. I always like to use a pole pot. The larger PVA bags there was actually filled to the top. They've not been effective today, so what I'm doing, I've got literally about a 1/3 fill one of these large pole pots, and I'm going to put it into the main compartment of the PVA. You've probably done this before, you've seen it, but I'm just going to show you exactly how to tie the perfect bag. So 1/3 fill the little pole pot. I'm going to get my plunger, push it into the main compartment. Now is the important part. So you've got to stay focused here, right? It's important to tie a really tight bag, because it's important that when it enters the surface and the bottom, it's starting to break up, so it means that you're fishing nice and quickly. You don't want a bag that's too loose and potentially going to break down too slowly. So all I do, shuffle it all down to the bottom. Now with my thumb and index finger, I'm going to pinch the PVA like that. I'm going to almost shuffle all them pellets down. So I've got a nice mixture of pellets. So using your thumb and your index finger, just grab that mesh and almost manipulate them pellets down. So now this is the important bit. Take a piece of the PVA and really tie a knot, keeping everything nice and tight, pushing everything down, and you almost need to keep control of this bag now. Don't let it go loose. Get that knot tied in. It's all compact there, perfect. Really, really tight, which is important. Now, this is important as well. So you don't lose the end of your PVA. Tie another knot just at the other side of where you've just formed that literally PVA knot there. So really, really close to it. Just going to shuffle it down. There we go. Right. Perfect. Tie another knot. As you can see, it's right tight next to it. Get some scissors and literally snip off them 2 knots right in the middle of it. And then what you're left with, you've always got the start of a new PVA bag then, because if not, you're going to lose that PVA bag, and it's a bit of a fiddly and faff to get it back on. So now you're left with the perfect little PVA bag, which is small, compact, it's probably got about 100 pellets in it, but you can imagine that when it goes to the bottom, breaks down after about 30 seconds, you've got your wafter hook bait right next to it. It's the perfect mouthful for one of these big carp. And it's important that you remember that these are hard pellets, and I think that's really important in the summertime because carp are really tuned into eating hard pellets, big baits. They're aggressive, they're eating, you know, a lot of bait, but it's not too much in and around your hook bait. So you've got the perfect little trap there. And all you've got to do now, you've already seen this, is get your baiting needle there, the gated baiting needle, push it through the middle of the bag, get your hook bait with your wafter already on. 4 inches has been perfect length today, really nice. It's almost like a method feeder, but you've still got the bolt effect of that method feeder style, but you're fishing with hard pellets around your hook bait. So pop it on your gated baiting needle, pull your bag down, and then literally get your hook bait right in the middle of the bag there like that. Get it in your syrup. It's important. I like at least 2, if you can, have 3 hook baits and bags soaking in that syrup, and it's just going to give even more attraction and impact around your hook bait. So that's it. Perfect bag. Make sure they're nice and tight, not too big, hard pellets. Get the halibuts, really high oil, attractive pellets in and around your bag. Make sure it's tight, get them in the syrup, waft a hook bait. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, catch a load of carp. Another cracking carp on the old bag. It's been a brilliant way of fishing for these big fish. You can see how effective that bag is. Then pellets, waft a hook bait, big bomb, searching your peg. It's a mega way of fishing for these big fish, and I think it's really opened my eyes about how quickly you can actually catch these big fish on it. That, you know, they must be really homing in on that sticky syrup. That wafter hook bait, it's absolute winner. Whether you're fishing a match or you're pleasure fishing, this is an absolutely deadly way of targeting these big fish. Next time I come to Barston, it's something I'll definitely have in my armoury because I think it's unbeatable. This is another absolute beast. Look at that. Oh, what a day on the bag. Lovely common, that one. Yes. That is the prettiest carp you could wish to catch. Absolutely nailed, bottom lip. I'm going to try and hold her up for you because she's an absolute beauty. Pop it down. Scales on this carp are absolutely stunning. That is an absolutely stunning carp. That was the quickest bite yet, about 35 seconds. It's absolutely amazed me how quickly these carp are nailing that bag. But all of this combined, the wafter hook bait, sticky syrup, that glug, all of this combined, that high oil halibut pellets in that little bag, not too many, got that really attractive orange hook bait. Always try and use that orange colour when the water is coloured. I really like that orange colour in the summertime. These big carp definitely love an orange wafter. And that sticky syrup and that PVA bag honestly has really impressed me. I've not fished it much myself in match fishing, but it's something I'll definitely have in my arsenal because the fishing today has been absolutely fantastic. And when you're fishing these venues that are full of big carp and it gets carp fished often, you really need to have this up your locker because it's been absolutely brilliant. This is another really hard fighting big Barston common, that is. I can see it wallowing on the top. The fishing has been unbelievable here today. Let's get this one in the old sack. Oh, another massive fish that is. Yes. And I don't think I've caught a fish in the same spot twice today. I've cast about everywhere. 3-minute chucks has been absolutely perfect. Any longer than that and I've just wasted time. But I've cast about everywhere and I've had a real mint day's fishing. And that is one of the biggest fish of the day, that is. I hope that comes in the old net. It's a cracker. Ooh. Here we go. Yes! What a mega way to end an epic PVA bag session here at Barston. Not beating it. Look at that. What a stunning, stunning carp. Nailed in the bottom lip. Gonna hold her up because that is very lively. It's the cherry on top of the cake. Amazing day. Hope you've enjoyed PVA bag tips. Get on it because you'll be in for a mint day's fishing. Cracker.